A pleasant good morning to everyone. Welcome to this week's edition of the Coles Brown Show, right here on the Black College Sports Network. Yours truly, Coles Brown. Here's the guest menu for today, May 10th. None other than Ossie Clark will be joining us. Will be part of the panel. Now, here's what's trending on the Coles Brown Show. Southern University baseball, they're getting hot at the right time. Somebody's been taking a lot of flack for his maybe, let's say, not enthusiastic about the Southern University baseball team. But right now, they're trending upwards, and you just have to give them credit. Also, we'll have a SWAC 2025 softball tournament update, and then we'll get into a little NBA playoffs update. And we have Coach Pettaway with us. And, boy, I really want to see some of his thoughts on what's been going on in the NBA playoffs. Also, we failed to mention last week, PVAMU has hired a new women's basketball coach. We'll get the panel's perspective on that. Now, let's introduce the panel. They'll come in one by one. Willa Brown, good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Coach Pettaway, good morning to you.
Good afternoon. Good morning. Good morning.
And Ossie Clark with a beautiful Grambling shirt. You know, I like gold. That's one of my favorite colors. Good morning to you, Ossie.
Good morning to you all as well.
Well, let's jump right into it. Southern University baseball getting hot at the right time. And Willer, I don't know. I think you kind of got me in trouble with some of the Jaguar Nation and Coach Pettaway because they're trending upwards now. They're getting hot at the right time. And you know it's tough, but I can take it when your famous cousin, she says, lay off of Coach Crenshaw. Southern University baseball will be fine. But guys, they're getting hot at the right time.
He's fighting, Carlos, you know, and like you said, the kids are playing well right now, and, you know, they're definitely trending upward. There's no doubt about that, and it's how you want to go into the tournament.
Right.
Yeah.
They've won 6 in a row, one of the hottest teams in the league. FAMU has won 7 in a row. But, you know, you got to take your hats off. They fought, man. They're still fighting. And that's what you want to see. And I guess the best part about this is they're peaking at the right time. You know, you're close to the tournament. You only got a few games left in the regular season. And so you want that momentum going into that tournament.
Yes, sir.
And if you ride it just the way that everybody's talking about it right now, you're riding in where you want to be. We talked about this a little bit a couple of weeks ago. All they had to do was find their stride, and they have. And they, being Southern University, Southern University has scored over 60 runs in the last 6 ball games. So that tells you right now that they're putting the bat on the ball, and they're actually playing solid baseball. All they have to do is figure out a way, win this series against Alabama A&M, and then pick up those games against Jackson State, at least 2 of those games against Jackson State, and they're sitting pretty going into the tournament.
And Coach Pettaway, Southern, I think it must have been a rain out yesterday. I didn't see a score, but they've already started against Alabama A&M in Huntsville.
Right. Well, right now you got it's a light drizzle. So it's nothing heavy. So I hope they'll be able to get the game. Well, no, let me just say, at my house it's drizzling. You know, it could be a different story. The campus is about 13 miles away, so it could be a different story up there because I think they were saying that it was going to be scattered showers today. So they might be able to get it in.
Yeah, hopefully so. And then next weekend, Southern takes on Jackson State. Boy, you couldn't ask for nothing better. Southern hot, Jackson State struggling a little bit. As we see the comments coming in, I'm going to get right into it now. Yesterday, Alabama State took 2 from Alcorn. Wow. It's tough for Alcorn right now, guys. The new coach, he's trying to put in his philosophy. They lost 10-1 and 12-1. Pine Bluff, they're another team to watch out. Are they the surprise team in the conference, in your opinion, right now?
Yeah, they're in fifth place. Yeah, I don't think they were predicted to go that high. So they're playing well. So they found that genie somewhere because it's working.
Well, and they defeated Jackson State 5-0. Prairie View A&M took 2 from Mississippi Valley State, 8-1 and 14-1. Boy, Mississippi Valley State, I think they're on a 7-game losing streak. They came in 9. Oh my goodness, they came in the Southern with a chance to get some separation, and they've lost basically every series since then. FAMU over TSU. I'm not surprised that they won, but boy, 10-1. That was a thorough whipping over Texas Southern. And then Bethune-Cookman went into Grambling. So you had a lot of East-West games. Bethune-Cookman 14, Grambling State 5. So the East, they're getting it done. Well, we say the East is no division, but East-West geographically, they have done the best so far in that East mythical West matchup. Today you got Prairie View A&M at Mississippi Valley State, Alcorn at Alabama State. You got FAMU at TSU, JSU at UAPB, Bethune-Cookman at Grambling State, and Southern at Alabama A&M. I know they've started. It was scoreless the last time I checked. Then breaking news: Derek Carr retires from the Saints. Oh boy, between the Saints and the Heat, guys, we just got to retool everything, tear it down, and build it back up. Will, I told you I may have to jump on the Ravens side.
So come on, plenty room on that wagon, Carlos. Plenty room on that wagon. But they all go through that at some point in time. Nobody's exempt from, the tear down and the rebuild, that sort of thing. For some teams, it's just maybe a little less painless than others.
Yeah. Right. Well, Carlos, if they knew he was going to retire, that should have been more reason for them to draft Shador.
Yeah. Well,
and they still might get him, Coach Pettaway. They might swing a trade for him or something. You never know. I mean, Cleveland got 5 quarterbacks now. So, I mean, somebody ain't going to stick. So
right.
He might be the odd man out. In the end, you never know.
And then, too, you may have to try to get a veteran in, a seasoned quarterback. But it is going to be interesting to see what happens. Like I said, between the Saints and the Heat, I'm gonna have to get Roy, our CEO of Black College Sports Network, to hop on a flight and go to Miami. We got to find out: is it time for Pat Riley to step aside? He says he's not. He says he's not.
Coach Carlos. He ain't going nowhere. He ain't going nowhere. You want the man to fire himself? Ain't gonna happen.
Pat Riley is like the old gospel song that says, "I shall not be moved."
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah. Oh boy. Well, we'll move past that. You guys were talking before the show started. Softball SWAC update. They've got games going on. Saints need to wait until next year's quarterback heavy draft. You guys are talking about Archie Manning. Oh boy. Could he come? Could he be there? Yeah, there we go. Saints setting the table for picking Arch next year. That's what you guys talked about before the show started. We shall see. We shall see. Yes. Softball update. Yes, they're fighting against Mother Nature, who usually is undefeated. What's the latest there?
Well, I think it's in the second inning. It's still under. No one has scored yet in the top of the second. Alabama State versus Florida A&M, and Charles is on the call, and he's been doing a magnificent job all week.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, and hey, that's why he's not a part of the panel this week. But Jackson State is waiting for the winner of this game, and Jackson State has to lose
Twice.
Two.
Right.
Yeah.
And see, the
Boy, that's
interesting
tough.
thing about that, Carlos, like the Jackson State, that game would be at 2:30 today. If Jackson State's wins that, if they win, it's over with. But whoever, if they can beat Jackson State, you still have to beat them twice. So the thing is going to be, will they wait the 5 hours for the third game, or will they move the third game until tomorrow morning? I know the selection show. I know the softball selection show is tomorrow, so they could conceivably play tomorrow morning and still be available for the selection show.
Yeah, because you said you guys were talking about the weather. There's some rain is supposed to be heading in that way.
But even without the rain, I think it's in the conference rules, isn't it, Wheeler? That you have to wait 5 hours for that third game.
You got to wait 5 hours. And anytime
Right.
it's a third game on the same day, you have to wait at least 5 hours between the second and the third game. So my thing is that you never know how the seeding is going to come out, simply because if Jackson State should lose the final game, then maybe some other teams involved in terms of seeding for the NCAAs. So it could be a thing of them having to jumble up a few things. It's not just one team that's going to be affected by it. It may be a few teams that's affected by it. So and the NCAA, they stop for no man or woman. So they're going to look to kind of stay on course, that sort of thing. So I'm thinking they're going to have to, if it's a third game, they're going to have to play it tonight.
If not, then you're looking at, because Coach Pettaway, the rain is supposed to come in mid-afternoon.
Correct.
Yeah. So then you're looking on the alternative. You're looking at Sunday morning.
Right.
And you can start as early as 9 o'clock if necessary. I know they've started the last couple of morning games around 10:30 or 10 o'clock, but if necessary, you can start as early as 9 and still get 2 games in.
Some of the people in the chat room are saying they thinking it's going to be a third game tomorrow, because they've been kind of dodging the weather throughout the week. Because I know here in Baton Rouge, it's been a lot of rain, on and off the last few days, and Gulfport is, not that far away from Baton Rouge and New Orleans. So Jackson State, they win one. It's over with.
Right. Well, see, I think the other thing, everything is backed up because yesterday was what, a total washout. I don't think they played any games yesterday. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so, because it was real stormy here and rainy, so someone in the chat room said they've announced that the championship will be tomorrow.
That's the best.
Yes.
The championship or just the third game?
Yeah.
Championship or the third game, Carlos?
Let's look in here. Someone said
third game will be Sunday if needed.
Third game will be Sunday if needed.
Yeah, the third game will be Sunday. Yep. That makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does, no doubt.
Get them a little rest, and then come prepared to get it done. So don't worry, it won't be a third game. Somehow, you think
Jefferson said, no, we ain't having that. There ain't gonna be no third game. We're gonna get it out the way.
I understand. So we've talked in this segment. We gave you the scores. Baseball, Southern University. They're cooking. And it's going to be interesting to see. They can't overlook A&M, but next weekend will be the final conference regular season games, and they got Jackson State. After our first time out, I'm gonna look at the standings for SWAC baseball standings, and Bethune-Cookman and FAMU, they're strong. Alabama State has been picking up steam. You notice a few of the teams have been picking up steam because they know now it's the end, and then it's tournament time. Let's see. I will not be talking to Pat Brown until after this offseason. I trust the Godfather. That must have been Roy Evans. Well, Roy, I want him to show me. I guess I'll have to, but we need to go down there. We need to go down to Miami and see what is the plan. There you go. What's the plan for next season? You know, the off season is important, and so it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, Pat doesn't need to step. Pat doesn't need to step down. He's just got to loosen the reins a little bit because the players of today, they're a little bit different now, and that's why they're saying that they don't want to come down there because it's so regimented in Miami. So you know he might want to loosen the reins a little bit. Let the guys have a little freedom. That's the only way you're gonna get some free agents down there now.
Yeah, because look. They judge body fat, everything. They're tough.
Right.
Yeah, you know, he's been getting on me when I've come down there. He wants that body fat cut in half.
Man, that sounds like Rick Pitino. You know, when Pitino, I'm serious now. When Pitino was coaching, I went to when he was with the Celtics. They had an exhibition game here, and I had an opportunity to go down and sit and watch them. Man, you should hear those staff people talking about. They had this table of stuff for them to eat, right? None of the staff wanted to bother. I said, man, why y'all not eating it? He said, oh, no, you don't want to do that now. Not coach. Coach, I said, wait a minute, that's for the players, not for you all. He said, Coach wants everybody in shape. If you worked in our organization back then, they did body fat and everything, man, for everybody. Yep.
So let me throw this out hypothetically. Zion Williams, he would run from Miami, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, well, we gotta take a time out. Boy, I tell you. It's going to be interesting to see how everything plays out. Because, as we go to this break, you know, you say off season, but really there's no off season.
There is no
even on the collegiate level, everybody is still working to get ready for the season. So it's no downtime. And I've told the story before. Magic Johnson said when he first got in the league, you know, you came to camp to get in shape.
Yep.
But he said he realized quickly that you better be in shape. Get to camp because things move fast, and before you know it, you'll lose a position. So
These soft kids, they got to get it in gear, Carlos. Yeah. Can't take hard coaching. Can't take tough coaching nowadays. Jesus Christ. What is the world coming to?
And they better get ready now because basketball is going to change now. You know, the NCAA, they got some proposals out there that's going to change the basketball. They're trying to speed up the game. I like that. But they're talking about going to 4 quarters now. That's going to be really discussed this summer. And now the coach's challenge, if the ball goes out of bounds now, the coach is going to have to use a challenge because they want to stop spending all this time on these reviews. Yep.
Sounds like imitating professional basketball.
And that's exactly what they said too. They want to try to make collegiate basketball more uniform with the NBA and international ball. That's why they're talking about the quarters.
Yep. Well, I'll say this, guys, and see if you agree or disagree. This could be the moment that the mid-range jumper comes back. But you know, I'm being facetious though, because it's either threes. And you know what? When we come back after this timeout, the Celtics. Where's Melanie? She picked the Lakers and she picked the Celtics.
Yep.
We'll just hold that thought. We'll come back. we'll talk some NBA playoffs. I'll just say you live by the 3.
You die by it.
By the 3. We'll take a timeout. You're watching the Carlos Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. We shall return.
Let's face it, shopping for insurance can be time-consuming. That's why when it comes to your auto, home, and life insurance needs, make things simple and trust the experts at Allstate. They will help you get the coverage that fits your needs while helping you bundle your life, home, and auto policies. Bundling saves you money, sure, but it also saves you time, so you can enjoy the things that matter most even more. Contact me, Tammy Haynes, your local agent, for a free personalized insurance quote. Allstate, are you in good hands?
There's a shot. That might be. It could be. Right field. Grand slam. What a shot. That's how you get hot, young fella.
Thank you guys for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do, and all you guys at BCSN. We really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food? Like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
Oh, we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Carlos Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. Roy, if you can, Coach Pettaway, if you can, give us an update when you can on the softball game between Alabama State and FAMU, the last.
Well, it's in the third, and I think it's still scoreless.
Okay.
FAMU does have a run on second base.
Well, Brian Fulford left a remark. FAMU left 3 more runners on base at the bottom of the second. That's 4 in the game and now 35 in the tournament.
Yep.
Back in the chat room, Zion ain't running nowhere. Light jog, maybe. Well, Chuck Hunt said this is the reason why Rick Pitino doesn't have a weight problem.
Yeah.
Toughness. We were kind of talking about the NBA, but now, Coach Pettaway, the playoffs.
Wow.
And a couple of things, a lot of things stick out, but the Boston Celtics, for most part, the consensus to win it all by the prognosticators.
And I picked them.
Yeah, and on this panel, some people had him.
I did too.
Winning, yeah, and I hadn't really talked to Coach Grave or texted him because he's a Knicks diehard, and he's in heaven. I'm sure.
It's blue and orange skies, man, all over the place for the New York faithful, man. They're playing outstanding. It's a little disappointing. I picked Boston and OKC for the championship, and I said Boston would win it. Well, both of my teams are struggling right now. Both of them are struggling. And Boston, I don't know how you fix their issue. They probably have the easiest path to fixing what their issues are. They shoot too many doggone threes. If they take half of the 3-point shots that they've been taking and put the ball in the paint, I think that they'll have more results. But that's above my pay grade. I'm not an NBA coach. All I do is just watch the game. But I really think that they're killing themselves. They're shooting themselves in the foot by shooting all these threes.
and to add to what you're saying, Coach, you're not only a great coach, you got good common sense. Common sense tells you that if you don't make as many 3-pointers as you normally do, that you need to change your philosophy. Going 15 of 60 in the first game, and you have a 20-point advantage. You missed 45 3-pointers in game 1 and had a 20-point advantage. You cut down on half of those shots, go inside, hit the easies, or either work the clock and make the other team have to work to come from behind. That gives you a better opportunity to win the game. And then in game 2, it wasn't any better. I think that they shot about 43s in game number 2 and only hit 10. So you're looking at a team that is not shooting the basketball well from outside. Their analytics has cost them basketball games that they should have won.
And it's weird because in game 2, before game 2, the prognosticators were saying, their arrogance, they're going to still shoot a lot of threes. But I noticed, like some suggested Tatum and Brown put them in the post, play inside out, right? And they did it somewhat, but then New York came back both times by being down. Yep. And so the question begs, Boston is a must game, but I've also heard the national prognosticators say this is a must win for the Knicks. Because if they go up 3-0, then can Boston win 4 in a row? Now, you remember a couple of years ago, they almost did it. They got down 3-0 against Miami. And they forced it to a 7th game. Now, hold that point. Cleveland, same thing. He lost 2 at home, but then the last game, they blew out Indiana at home. So, even in that series, who is the must win for? Is it who's the most pressure for? Indiana or Cleveland? Some would say it's Indiana. And OKC, they did bounce back and win by 46. All-time records are broken that game. Coach Pettaway, 149 points, most points in the first half. And then it went into overtime last night when they outscored 11-2.
Right. Well, see, I thought last night when they got to overtime, well, first of all, down the stretch, you had Brian Williams. You had Williams he was in a rhythm, and they didn't go to me. Now they did not go to him enough. I thought that they took too many shots. They went away from him when he was the only one that really was in a groove last night. And then when they got to overtime, man, they lost everything in overtime. They lost all momentum in that overtime. And they gave up another game. And that's going to be bad because, see, with that team being so young, it's going to be hard for them to overcome that. Denver's been there before. Denver knows what it takes to win a championship. OKC is still trying to learn it. And I just thought that down the stretch, they should have been giving the ball to Williams more because he was the most consistent player on the floor last night.
Yeah, Williams had 32 points in that game, and when you're struggling, SGA didn't have a great game at all, going missing 15 or 22 shots in that game. He was 1 for I think 6 from behind the 3-point line, and so you're just struggling. And then down the stretch in the overtime period, the Thunder just went crashing down. They were 1 for 9 on their 9 possessions down the stretch, and this is throwing in the fact that Jokic didn't even have a great game himself. He scored 20 points in the game, has 16 rebounds, and I think 6 assists in the game. But Jokic was 17 of 25 from the field, guys.
Right.
Just imagine if he would have had a great game. We're not even talking about this being a game whatsoever. So you had 2 of the best players in the NBA having off nights when it really counted, and then finding a way to win it down the stretch, outscoring your opponents 11-2 in the overtime, just willing yourself to a win because Denver's been there. And I think that makes a big difference when you've been there. Going back to the Celtics for just a second, the Celtics have been there. And so right now, it's imperative for New York to actually find a way to win at home. They don't want to get this game back on the road and then put themselves in a position where Boston has a chance.
Right, you're absolutely correct. And see, now Ozzy, just think back. Let's go back to let's go back to OKC. In regulation, Gilgeous took 3 out of 4 shots after Williams had already scored 2 in a row. Why not give him an opportunity to score the basket? And I think, to me, that was a mistake down the stretch in regulation. It never should have gone to overtime.
I totally agree with you. And when you have a guy that has the hot hand, you want to make sure that he touches it as much as humanly possible. And like you said, down the stretch, when a guy has 32 and your best basketball player is struggling, you put the ball in the guy's hand that's been doing it all night for you. Give them an opportunity to win the basketball game. Let them have the opportunity to get you in a position where you're ahead in the series. And that does everybody well, because now you leave the series, you'll be up 2-1. Instead, you're down 2-1 because you just didn't do the right thing.
Right.
Yeah. And a lot of times the experts, again, have been talking about some of the coaching decisions. One other game that we haven't series we hadn't talked about. Do you think Golden State is in serious trouble with Stephen Curry with Will of that hamstring? He says a warm-up. Boy, I've had that before in my non-athletic playing days, and that's tough.
It ain't no joke.
I mean, it's
There's
nagging,
no doubt about that.
Yeah.
And the longer Steph is out, the worse shape Golden State's gonna be in. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Right. Golden State has no shot without Steph. It's over with. Then you got Draymond and all his drama. That's not helping Golden State. That's not helping Golden State at all, man.
And then you throw in the fact that Steph Curry has been ruled out of tonight's game 4, and then a reevaluation for game number 5. If he's not there, they don't have somebody that can actually take them over the edge or give them that opportunity to win the basketball game. So it's going to be a very long series for Golden State.
Well, yeah. I was just thinking about that. Playoff Jimmy will be on tap the next 2 games. My question is, can you go through him? Coach Pettaway, we've seen him do it with the Miami Heat. But it was interesting how Minnesota, they kind of put a lot of pressure on Jimmy to get the ball out of his hands, and nobody else could step up.
Right, because now here's the difference. When he was at Miami, he had other people that could make plays that could score the ball. So when he broke people down, when he caused a double team, he was able to swing the ball to somebody that can shoot it. You don't have that in Golden State. You swinging the ball now, you giving it to Draymond. Draymond is not a scorer.
No,
and it's still a relatively new team for him. I don't know that he has gotten fully acclimated yet to the surroundings and who he's playing with and all that sort of thing. Takes a while to gel, I think.
Right. Yes. Absolutely. You're absolutely correct. And see, it's just not there, man. And I'm serious. There is no way that they can advance without Steph being on the floor and healthy now.
Mm-hmm.
No, because Draymond Green offensively is a brick mason. That's all he throws.
And he's getting close to getting suspended the game with another technical foul. What's the young guy, the 6'9" guy that they didn't play a whole lot, and now they're trying to put him inside there.
Right.
It takes him a time to kind of get acclimated, warmed up, and then even when Curry comes back, I know how I was with a hamstring. You still mentally.
Yeah,
you're kind of scared to make a move.
You're gonna be gentle. You're gonna be gentle for a few minutes.
And see, he needs that because he moves so well without the ball, and his game is all about running and cutting, and he's not gonna be able to do that, man. With only a week's worth of rest, that doesn't do very much for your hand.
Mm-hmm. Well, we see. Thanks, Roy. 2025 SWAC softball tournament. FAMU 1-0, top of the fourth, one out. A lady's on second base. I wanted to say man on the second base, but I better say a lady on second base. And there we go.
2 outs now.
2 outs.
Yep.
Yeah. We'll appreciate it. We'll appreciate it. Kind of do a little double team action there. And
that's right. Get a lady some love. They need it. They deserve it. Get a lady some love. That's great.
Yes, sir. Back to the NBA. Cleveland got a big victory the other night.
Yep.
So now their next game, what's the possibility you believe, panel, that they can tie this game, the series up 2-2? And most teams, when they lose, they usually bounce back in a way. Can they bounce back? And if they win, the next game is 2-2, then you're looking at a best 2 out of 3. And for the Celtics, they've got to win this game. They got to win this game this afternoon.
But in terms of Cleveland now, you got to remember Mobley, Noah, Garden played in their loss now. They came back and played in Indiana last night, and they won. They won because you talking about the defensive player of the year out of your lineup. You talking about Garland, one of your top offensive players out of the lineup. They had 3 people that missed the game the other night, and they all came back and played last night. I think if Cleveland can remain healthy, they can come back and beat Indiana again at home. I think they can do it. I think they can upset. Well, it won't be an upset. I think they can beat the Pacers.
Do you think it's a chance that it's going to be a rematch, Indiana and the Knicks, for the Eastern Conference Final? What percentage you think of that? And in the West, I'm still going with OKC. I think they bounce back and it's 2-2, but I think that series is going 7 games.
Yeah, it might go 7, but I still got OKC coming out of the West. And I'm gonna be honest, even with Boston struggling like it is now, it's gonna if the Knicks win today, it's over with for Boston. It's over with because I don't think they can beat them 4 straight. I don't think the Knicks will allow that to happen. I don't think they will lose 4 straight games.
And as much as I talked about a couple of shows ago, and I didn't specifically like how the Knicks run their offense. Brunson is just a lot of ISO. He dribbles, and he's 6 feet tall. He's tough. He's tough. I have to give credit where credit is due. But OG to me has been the shining star for the Knicks. Great two-way player. I was hoping that he could get him, but once again, anytime the Heat is interested in somebody good, some kind of way they don't get there. But that's just me. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but he's a good 2-way player.
Right, and you got to have that. I think you're seeing more of team concepts now that you're in the playoffs. there's no one individual that's gonna I think win a series. You gotta be united as a team, and you gotta play together. And I think that's what you're seeing now in these playoffs.
And you talked about it. You talked about it. You had Mikal Bridges, who stepped up and played tremendously. I think he had 20 points. You had Brunson, who had tremendous games down the stretch. And then Karl Anthony Towns, I think he added 21 and 17. So you have a total team concept, guys who are galvanizing around each other, understanding what it takes in order to win during this time of the year. All the fun and entertainment stuff that happened at the beginning of the year, that's great. That's over with. They've thrown that out the window. Now you're seeing actual basketball being played with these teams that are out there on the court.
The Knicks kind of remind me of the old school, the way they play tough defensively. Now another key was the big cat going down in that post.
Yep.
See, and
Man,
Boston,
inside
that's
out.
the same thing I'm telling you. Yeah.
Inside out.
And then defensively, they locked down when the fourth quarter come. And I think now it's a mental focus in the Celtics. They're up, but they're looking over their shoulders when the fourth quarter comes.
And in the fourth quarter of that basketball game, I want to say the Celtics scored, the Knicks scored 30 points in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Well, as we close this segment, you live by the three. You die with the Celtics, and it's going to be interesting. Jimmy Butler, can you get it done? Can you lead Golden State to get a victory? The panel says it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, Jimmy's not going to be able to do it by himself. He's not going to be able to do it by himself.
Playoff Jimmy would need baseball bats in order to make sure that they had a chance.
We're going to take a last time out of hour number one. When we come back, Prairie View A&M women, since the last time we talked, they've hired a women's basketball coach. So if I'm not mistaken, that's it, right? For all of the openings that they were able to hire. I'm going to double check, but I think that's it. But interesting pick for Prairie View A&M. This young lady comes from the University of Houston, and she was a major recruiter for the University of Houston. So they've retooled. Coach, it's going to be an interesting women's basketball season as well. And Southern has added about 5 pieces, transfers, and even one from the University of Arkansas Pine Bluff. I had a Southern Knight said, well, I don't know if I like that. That's kind of lazy if you got to depend on getting players from within the conference. But the bottom line is they're retooling it. They're trying to walk it back. Regular season champ and what? Will a tournament champion. We shall see, but
we shall see. We shall see.
You're the hunted now, right? The hunted.
That's right.
I thought to say haunted. The hunted. You really are.
It's like a loot machine. All around town, people trying to get down. It's like a loot machine.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Coles Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. FAMU up to bat, batting 1-0 over Alabama State. Bottom of the fourth, one out. And here's the windup and the pitch. You know, I tried hitting some of those pitches in softball, embarrassing. I don't think I hit a ball. I didn't hit a ball. Wow. So they are really athletic. And again, the winner of this game will meet Jackson State, weather permitting. Jackson State wins one game. They represent the Southwestern Athletic Conference. If they lose, in other words, you got to beat Jackson State twice. Before the break, Todd Dillard is the new women's basketball coach at Prairie View and NIM. For Prairie View, they made the selection. Reading a little bit of a bio, she comes from the University of Houston. And so congratulations. Now she gets to work for Prairie View A&M basketball. So Coach Smith is still there on the men's side, but there's been a lot of moving pieces that Prairie View's putting together. Coach Pettaway, you think Coach Smith has to get back to those winning ways to keep his position there? Or do you think in the big picture, this could be his last year unless something very, very strategic happens?
Well, I would hope not. I mean, you know he's a championship caliber coach. He's won a couple of titles. Everybody's going to have that period to where you're not going to be on the top every year. So I just think that he'll probably go out this year and retool his roster to where he'll have enough people that he can get back and be in that top four. I think that's all he has to do. He's a proven winner, man. And I think that one of the things that I think he has in his favor, he gets it done on the defensive end of the floor first. And I think that'll help him. That will help him in getting back to the top of the SWAC. So I'm hoping that they'll be patient out there at Prairie View. He has been proven that he can win. He knows what he's doing. And with this portal and stuff, it just takes an adjustment, man. It takes an adjustment for everybody to figure this portal mess out. And speaking of the portal, I think that has hurt some of our schools when it comes to the APR. I have yet to try to figure out how we don't have more schools that are not on probation because of all the transfers. Because I do know you still got to maintain that APR. And how is that possible when kids can just leave?
Well, I did get a chance to briefly look. You know, of course, I looked at Southern's first. Football was they qualified. FAMU got a reduction in practice time. They were under the 9:30 mark.
Right.
UAPB and I'm missing somebody. Oh, Mississippi Valley State.
Right.
But that was just football. I hadn't looked through all of the specific sports. But
you're gonna have some basketball teams. You're gonna have some basketball teams that are gonna be that have APR issues. That came out this week.
Yeah, it did. So like I said, I just looked at just a couple of sports briefly. But speaking of the transfer portal, you still got more slots open than players. And then two, you have to be really selective of who you bring in. It's got to be a fit. And I know I get questions every day pertaining to Southern, you know, and some have fallen into I call it the FBS-itis. You know,
and I think to answer or try to answer Coach Pettaway's question, you know, I think it's going to take another year, Coach Pettaway, for the NCAA to kind of catch up in terms of, your multi-year
Right.
APR scores. And so I think that given after this year, when you start rolling into next year, you're going to see more squads from our schools probably lose practice time or go on probation, that sort of thing. You probably got a few schools right now that are in that queue, that the NCAA is giving them an opportunity to make up, so to speak, or, try to right the ship, doing, improvement reports and things of that nature, And so I think after this year, uh, the fact gonna start hitting the curb, so to speak. Yeah, but I think Prairie View did a good job in terms of who they hired. Outside of her, I would guess, lack of head coaching experience, she seems to check a lot of the boxes. I thought it was smart on their part to go a local route, and the fact that she is a proven recruiter, I think probably weighs big in her favor also. So, you kind of think that you kind of hit a lot of buttons there, but we'll see. But in terms of the men's coach, when you got a new AD on board, Coach Pettaway, that window of opportunity becomes really, really slim. And, even though he's proven in the past that he's been able to get it done, we're all in that what have you done for me lately type mode. And he's probably no different. And I think golf is probably waiting to see what's going to happen this year. He'll be blameless in terms of not having given the head coach an opportunity to right the ship and all that sort of thing and stuff. So it'll make it easier, a lot easier for him to pull the trigger on that. After this year, I think a contract will be up and all that sort of thing. So, it's not going to cost him anything. And so it'll be a painless opportunity for him to kind of move forward if that's what he chooses to do.
Well, I'm going to throw this up because you guys like to throw this theory up. What, with 1 year left on this contract, what happens from an administrative standpoint, Will, and then I'm coming to Coach Pettaway, if he makes it to the tournament finals in basketball? Does that does Mr. Golf have something else to think about, or is it kind of in his mind right now that he's probably going to move on?
I think it gives him something to think about, although maybe in his mind he might be ready to move on, and maybe he might have done it this past year if it wasn't money left on the contract, that sort of thing. So, I mean, you never know what's in an AD's mind, but should he make it to the championship game, I mean, he'd have to pause on that thing at least for a second or two and kind of regroup and see whether or not that's the direction he truly wants to go in. But I kind of think his mind may already be made up, but that's just me talking.
Right.
Yeah.
But now, Willa, hey, Willa, one of your favorite phrases, if you're going to move on from Coach Smith, is the person you're going to bring in, is that better? I mean, do you have somebody already in the hopper? That's what you got to look at.
He might have somebody already, Coach Pettaway.
Y'all have a short list.
Or at least he got a short list, I'm sure.
You heard that, Will? I say, y'all. I always keep a short list in the back pocket, or in the desk, for such an occasion. But again, it's just so tough. It's tough. I must admit, for ADs, and a lot of people are on them all the time. They get to the point now, I know at least one AD, he doesn't return my phone calls, my text messages. And I've been trying to get him on. I don't know. Maybe he's a little hot at me. I don't know. But honestly, it's really a chance. for a reset. And it just seems like Prairie View has done it. And from the outside looking in, outstanding resources, facilities.
No. What facility? Are you talking about? Are we talking football or basketball?
Football, basketball, the campus, everything. They got it's nice to me.
Not basketball. Not if they're still in the Baby Dome.
You don't like the Baby Dome?
No. Carlos.
I haven't been there.
Carlos, it was ancient when I coached.
What? Wait a minute.
It's still in the same facility now for basketball.
Well, they got the money to get a new one.
Okay, get the new one. Get the new one, then hold his feet to the fire.
Hey,
that's a recruiter.
I trust your eyes. I haven't been there. You have. I've just seen it on TV.
But you know what? I can't. That's not good. Okay, if I speak the truth hurts now. But that you cannot recruit. That's not part of your man. I promise you, that's not a place that's gonna stand out now when it comes to recruiting.
I'd have to agree with Coach on from this standpoint because Prairie View is a ways away from just being in Houston alone. You're talking about an hour drive away from the city. So getting people just to come out and be part of the festivities that go on at Prairie View is one thing. Just having fans to show up. I was there for the Grambling and PV game a while back this year, and it was nobody at the basketball game. When I say nobody, you could have backed a dump truck up full of rocks and threw it across the stadium and hit nobody.
Right.
But with that being said, I also believe that Prairie View is in a position where they do have to start thinking about resetting. Does that mean that they move on from Coach? I don't know if that's what that means. You have to really give him a chance because watching early, Prairie View was actually playing pretty decent basketball. And they were playing well on the defensive side of the floor. They actually did a number on Grambling when Grambling played earlier this year. And so I was kind of impressed. They have a couple of players that can actually play for the men's basketball team. For the ladies, on the other hand, you're looking at Coach Dillard, and she's coming in from the University of Houston, and you've talked about her track record of being a recruiter, an associate head coach, and not only associate head coach, but she's been at, I believe, Ole Miss, I think maybe USC, I think it was on there, and a couple of other schools, and then, of course, being a basketball player who's played here in the state of Texas, went to the University of Texas, and helping them go to the NCAA tournament, and I think making it to the Final Fours as a player. So she's a young lady that knows how to get the job done. She knows how to do it. Just the fact that the University of Houston was in a position where it was surrounded by the University of Texas, who was getting dynamite players, and Texas A&M, who are getting dynamite players. So right now, when you look at it, the record may not indicate how great a coach she really is. And Wheeler just mentioned it a minute ago about being an outstanding recruiter. It just so happened that bringing those players in, just having paid dividends at the University of Houston doesn't mean that it won't pay dividends at Prairie View. So right now, Prairie View is in a position where they're in a reset mode just about with everything there. New football coach, new girls basketball coach, and possibly this season, new men's basketball coach.
I think she's got a good network, if nothing else, you would think. You know, she's got the knowledge, the wherewithal to be able to go out there and, and get those kids. And, Carlos, it may be a reason why she hasn't gotten an offer from a PWI institution right now. Probably maybe because of the quote unquote lack of success of the Houston team, that sort of thing. Doesn't mean that she's not worthy. I just think, she's looking at this as an opportunity, and hopefully she'll be able to go out there and bring some kids in. But I mean, she's in the loop, she's in the network, so she'll be able to get in some of those living rooms, that sort of thing and stuff, and hopefully she'll be able to navigate that transfer portal a little bit. and bring some kids in. Prairie View's a tough place, I think. If you're talking about fans, not necessarily showing up, that sort of thing. I mean, we talk about it being right outside of Houston and all that sort of thing, but I mean, I don't know.
Well, Houston's a big metropolis. There are many things to do on the weekend. Even TSU has had people questioning, fan participation, which is one set of ideas. But I'm stunned though. Like I said, from the outside looking in, I know the facility, the football stadium. I know they've done some things with the baseball stadium. I guess one day we'll have to rank the basketball facilities. That like in the summertime. Well, I know Alabama A&M's got a brand new one. The F.G. Clark Activity Center. They had some renovations to the locker rooms and stuff, and new basketball court. But it's a facility that's got a little mileage on it. I've seen valleys. All right, watch it, Aussie. The Hobby Arena is relatively. It's not 20 years old, right? Correct.
No, it's not quite 20.
Yeah. Even in Valley had a nice arena when they did the renovations.
Yeah.
I've seen UAPBs again, not in person, but from streaming and television.
I think if you go around the league, you're gonna find out that probably Alcorn, Bethune-Cookman, PV, those will be the three facilities off the top of my head that'll probably be toward the bottom.
Wow. Even more over you. Would you take Prairie View on the mini dome over UAPBs of a basketball arena?
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. I forgot. Okay, that would be your four. UAPB would be the fourth one. Those would be when it comes to basketball now. I think that's where those coaches would probably vote those four toward the bottom.
Yep. Acadome. Now, to me, the Acadome is kind of similar to the F.G. Clark Activity Center, but right. I think the Acadome is younger.
Correct.
Yeah.
But see, I think you all have done enough. You renovated. Your facility has been renovated. See, but see at PV now, if they renovated, it's not where we could see it. It wasn't in the visitors' locker room. It was not. And then when I got out of coaching, I was still going back doing the broadcast. So if it's quite obvious they have probably done some renovations since I was last there. But I'm talking about when you start looking at just total facility in terms of basketball, it would be in the bottom four.
Okay. EA says the Lawson Center is 20 years old and still top 3 in the SWAC. Oh, those colors, though, boy, they blinding. They really did the colors, though, orange and green. That's just an interesting combination. I hope I haven't insulted the FAMU nation there, but those colors. But yeah, I didn't know it was 20 years old. I would have thought, wait a minute, is it really 20 years old?
It's been there for a minute.
Wow, I didn't know it was 20. I thought it was younger. I thought it was newer than that.
Me too. Boy, time flies, Aussie, doesn't it?
It definitely does. And I've been around for a little while, so 20 years is man. It just seems like yesterday. I'm going to be honest with you. I look at you talk about the Hobby Assembly Center. I was still in college when they were actually erecting that building. So that I'm not trying to tell my age either, but I was still in college.
Yep. But there are some nice facilities in the SWAC, but when you start ranking them and you start looking at places that you can use for recruiting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's why I made the statement. Don't be on Smith too hard now, because have you given him everything he needs to be successful? And the first thing I would look at, does he have a facility that would help him attract athletes? You know, they're getting away from the athletes are getting away from your facility because they're looking at the bag now. Everybody wants that bag, but facilities still come into play when it comes to recruiting. They want to be able to practice and play in a decent place, a nice place.
And you know, Carlos, all these facilities are teaching facilities. You know, so you know the onus is going to be on a collaborative effort. You know, with academic side of things and
University,
all that
right?
sort of thing
Yeah.
in order to get those things done. You know, athletics on its own, you know, not going to be able to just, you know, shell out the money in order to get the kind of renovations that, you know, we all would love to have, that sort of thing. So, you know, if you don't have that kind of relationship with, you know, your academic side of things,
Valid
it's
point.
going to be almost impossible to be able to get things done.
And see, that's why I think Alabama A&M, when they, you know, that's why it's called the event center.
Yeah, multi-purpose.
It's no education. There's nothing dealing with education as a part of that facility. And that's going to make it, in the long run, that means that athletics is going to always have to come up with the funds to keep it going.
Yeah, well, let me ask you this, Coach Pettaway, because a lot of like the F.J. Clark Activity Center, they've done some in the past, some high school state championships,
right?
You know, things like that. And so in the event center, you can maybe go after some events.
Well, we do. They right now we host the junior college, the junior college tournaments there. They've hosted high school events there, high school tournaments and that kind of stuff. I don't think they'll ever get to the point where, I hope they don't get to the point where they try to go after the regional state championships and that kind of stuff, because it interferes with the SWAC schedule. Yeah. So every other year you're gonna have an issue. So, but they're using the event center. Other events are in that place, but there's no educational component in that building.
Yeah, Chuck Hunt says this is the reason why FAMU fan base is so wild, because of those colors. Those colors are like getting hyperactive off sugar. They anger people. Yeah, that orange and green, it stands out. It stands out. In this segment, we talked about Ms. Dillard, the new coach at Prairie View A&M. Also, Coach Pettaway, it's interesting. I had a switch of subjects here, but it's basketball. I had a chance to really look at the roster. And, you know, a lot of people, particularly in this area, they're looking for the bigs. Even on the women's side, they've gotten about 4 kids out of transfer portal. We talked to one on the show a couple of weeks ago, 5'10", 5'10", 5'10", and the last one is 5'4". Man, it's still the question I get. You know, they clap, that's good, but can we get some post players? But anyway, Coach Pettaway, I had a chance to look at the roster. Dong, 6'8", he was out. He had a boot on his foot for Southern University, so he redshirted. 6'8", 6'9". Mr. Bell, who's doing some international competition, I saw him. I guess I didn't know who he was, but I saw him at all the home games. And he was the tallest athlete on the bench. He's 6'10". Then you got a 6'9". And Southern has offered a 6'10" guy with a 7'7" wingspan. So looking at that roster, they do have some height. Now, they lost a kid that was the starting center. He went to Jackson State. Boo, wow. Boo, boo. And so my sources were talking about playing time and stuff. Then it goes back to do you want a team that is deep and they play a lot of people and it's not a big drop off? In several games, we saw that second unit come in and energize. Or do you want, and I have a friend, we argued about this past week. He likes the way Ben Job did it. Play 6 or 7 kids, get them a chance to show themselves to the next level. Really? How many is going to the next level like talking about it?
Right.
So the question is, panel, would you like a deep bench? That, by the way, Southern University bench led the nation in scoring. Points coming off the bench. Or do you want a smaller rotation, 6, 7 players? And then he stated to me, what did that get Southern, the early exit? I think that was a low blow. I think it was a low blow.
Right, because see that, hold up now. You look at the total body of work, that rotation and that style of play got you a conference championship that it took 2.5 months to get. You have one bad weekend and you on the outs. So that's to me that's not a fair representation. Now for me personally, I want the deep bench. I've always believed in having a bench because I want to pressure you. I want to keep fresh bodies on the floor. I want to play up tempo. And I'm picking your butt up soon as you get on my campus. I'm starting picking you up from there. So I need a bench. I want the bench to be so I could sub and keep fresh bodies on the floor. That's the way I play. That's the only way I know how to coach the game.
And that's what I saw. Every time you came to the FD Clark Activity Center, it was like, let me bring a handkerchief because I'm gonna be sweating the whole game because it was 40 minutes of you know what.
Right, because see now, and I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that that's the right way, but that's my way.
Right.
That's the way I saw it. That's the way I believe it. I still believe it to this day. To me, the teams that are successful, they got a bench. They can go deep. They play multiple defenses, and they play inside out. They can make adjustments. Now, I was this way. If I got a perimeter player going during the game, he got the basketball. I've had 4. I think we did this the other day. I've had 4 different players to score 50 points in a game. Now, that means I'm going to that guy. I believe in if you can put the ball in the basket, you my kind of guy. And I'm going to run sets. I'm going to run offense to make sure that you maximize that night. And I think my track record has proven that. My teams have always been in the top in the offense and defense. Top 4. Just check the records. Yep.
I've always been one, Carlos, to go 8, maybe 9 on occasion.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely not going to go past 9. 9 is pretty much my limit. And I tell kids in practice, that sort of thing, your goal is to get in that top 8 or 9. That's your goal.
Get in that rotation.
And so practices become very, very competitive, and like Coach Pettaway just said, you're always gonna go with the hot hand for the most part. So I mean, I'm more in line with chemistry, kids that are unselfish, that sort of thing. And but I'm not going past 9. I would like to stop at 8 and kind of call it a day from there. And we're gonna put pressure on you. We're gonna get after you. Those kids that are in that top 8 or top 9, they know that, they're gonna be in tip-top shape. Everybody's gonna be in tip-top shape because you never know when your number's gonna be called. And like I said, make practices competitive, because that people in that 8 or 9 group can change. So it's not like we're gonna start at 8 or 9 and then that's gonna be it for the entire year. Every practice we go out, you're earning all over again.
Sounds like you and Coach Pettaway are old school. Oh, old school is good. Right, Austin?
I would love. I totally agree. I would love to have a deep bench, but in reality, even when I was coaching high school basketball, the most I've probably ever played was 7 or 8 guys. That doesn't mean that those other guys aren't prepared, that they aren't ready to go. But with those 7 or 8 or 9 guys that we have, we're going after you full throttle from the beginning of the basketball game until the very end of that game. And so if you can't run with me, then you're going to have some problems to begin with. The other thing is, I think that when you talk about rhythm and having that rhythm in a game, you don't want to start putting different pieces in, because those pieces sometimes can throw off the entire rhythm that you have in a game. It's just like singing music or singing a song. There's a certain rhythm, there's a certain cadence that you have to have that's cohesive, that makes that melody. So sometimes when you start playing 10, 12 guys, it can throw everything off. So I believe in a deep bench, but I still want to only play probably about 7 or 8 of those guys if necessary.
Right.
It's an interesting conversation, I must admit. Since all of you guys have coached and I haven't, I think my philosophy would be, I like what Coach Johnson do. I'm going to play 10, but some games you don't need 10.
Right.
You may go 6. You may go 7. Foul trouble, injuries, that sort of thing. But everybody from 1 through 10 should be prepared and ready for the call
to play.
Again, I use this example. FAMU, they came in. Okay, that was my first game I saw with the eye test. First 3 minutes, it must have been like 6-2 FAMU. The energy wasn't good. The chemistry, boom, put in a whole new 5. They went on like something like a 16-2 run. They brought the energy, and then he brought the starters back, but then he kind of in and out. So no wrong answer here. It's just a philosophy. But my friend debating me, that the last part said, what did they get them? It got them a regular season champion. And you're right, Coach Pettaway. They had one bad game against Grambling State, and they were out.
Right.
And that was a close game. And so,
it's a game that they probably should not have lost to Grambling. I mean, when you really just go back and you look at it, Grambling had to fight tooth and nail to get back into the game. It was just a mistake here or there that cost Southern University that basketball game down the stretch.
Yep. Yeah, good point. Good point, because as Coach Pettaway said, you can go over a situation in practice all the time, but then when the lights are bright, sometimes, they forget.
Yep.
So
that's true.
With that being said, it's tie ball game now, bottom of the 6th, FAMU and Alabama State, they're battling. Boy, they be competitive. These softball games, they are competitive. And there's one of our member of the panelists. You see Charles Edmond. I was wondering where he was stationed at.
Yeah, he's behind home plate. And FAMU has a run on first base.
Correct.
With no outs.
Yeah, it's getting to the nitty-gritty time now. Because a lot of the personnel here at the Black College Sports Network are FAMU graduates. I guess I better pull for FAMU. I love my HBCUs. And by the way, congratulations to all of the graduates of HBCUs, whether it's upcoming or already. Congratulations. Now you're an alum, and now you get into this wacky world that we have that's going on now. And I'll leave it there. But at the end of the day, Austin, we're still going to be all right.
Yes, sir.
Going to be all right.
There's a lady at our church. She makes this statement. She says, "We're going to get wet, but we won't drown."
That should be on the T-shirt as well. Boy, I tell you. On that note, we'll take a timeout. When we come back, we'll reset. You're watching the Carlos Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. We shall return.
planning an event? From weddings to corporate functions, CMJ Events LLC brings over 15 years of experience to make your vision a reality. Based in Metro Atlanta and serving statewide, even internationally, we provide versatile event planning and authentic catering cuisines tailored to your needs. Whether it's pre-game meals for student athletes, fundraisers, weddings, corporate functions, CMJ Events LLC is your one-stop solution for exceptional service and unforgettable food. Our diverse culinary heritage means we cater to all cultural tastes, dietary needs, and food restrictions, making every meal uniquely yours. Let's make your next event unforgettable. Visit us on all social media at CMJ Events LLC or email us at cmjeventsllc@gmail.com. Also give us a call at 404-664-3882 so that we can start planning now.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Carlos Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. 1-1, bottom of the sixth, a little conference going on. Alabama State players panel, I think it's going down to the wire unless somebody has an explosion in the next inning or two. I think it's going to be a close one. Again, right. Jackson State waits.
Well, FAMU's looking pretty good right now in first and second with nobody out.
Yes, and this could be the explosive inning. You think 3 or 4 runs, that's it? Whoever gets 3 or 4 runs will win it?
Well, I think they've already said that this is one of the lowest scoring tournaments that's been out there in a while. There have not been a lot of runs scored in this entire SWAC tournament. So either the pitching has been pretty decent or the hitters are in a slump.
Well, I'll make a bold statement. It won't be low scoring for baseball. Oh, I just don't think so. You know.
Yeah, they've been having some football scores, Carlos.
Yeah, they've been hitting the cover off the balls, but that may be due to a couple of factors. One being the pitching. Yeah, but we shall see. I'm gonna go in the chat rooms. Interesting comments. Talking about the last segment, EA says, and I really agree with this part. Coach, high school kids, if you go to college, be the defensive stopper and a great free throw shooter, you will play all season, especially at clutch time. EA, I agree with that. Elwood says, play 10 if you got 10. Getting that deep of a bench that helps the team win isn't easy, Carlos. That's what makes what Coach Johnson is doing is special.
Yep.
Yeah. But
because
I think it's his philosophy, though.
See, Carlos, typically what you do, this is what I did. On the perimeter, I wanted one person that could play two positions. Give me a guard that could be a combo guard. He could be the point. He can also be an off guard, right? Then at your forward spot, give me a guy who could play the 3 and the 4, or give me a guy that can do the 4 and the 5. So if you have interchangeable pieces, then you can cut down on your rotation. That helps, but you got to have people that can play multiple positions.
Yeah, and that's a good point because I'm looking up. Excuse me. Coach Johnson.
It helps you when it comes to foul trouble. It helps you when it comes to injuries. Anytime, and then it helps you when the kid is having a bad game. Right. Yeah.
Well, to your point, and I text with Coach Johnson. Trey Shepard, he says that's huge. He's a combo guard, 6'6".
Right.
Can literally play the 1, 2, and the 3.
Right.
He's very athletic, great wingspan. But I'm gonna be facetious here. Some of my loyal fans will say, "Yeah, but are they going to sign some post players?"
Oh man.
Oh boy! I mean, Coach Pettaway, you said it's a dime a dozen. I know Jackson State has some tall. Alcorn signed a 7'2" guy, but when I looked at him, look, put it this way, because y'all are the basketball experts. I like bigs, right? But I like athletic bigs that are athletic, that can move, and they got wingspan. That's what I like. But it seems to me, Coach Johnson's philosophy, he likes the 6'6", 6'7", 6'8" players that can play multiple positions, Coach Pettaway.
And that's a good combination, man.
That's you need.
That's a good combination. Because that means that you're not stuck out there shooting all these threes. You got people, the mid-range game comes into play. You got all of that, man. I believe in it. But yes, we shot the 3, but I didn't stay on the perimeter shooting 3-point shots. If that's all you gave me, if you took away the inside game, I'm gonna try to shoot threes to try to get you to loosen up the defense. And then now I'm gonna start attacking.
Inside out. It's like in football, Coach. Wheeler. In football,
and that's if that's your shot, Carlos. Everybody can't shoot the 3.
Thank you.
I tell the kid, tell me he shot it because he was open, and I'm like, there's a reason, son. There's a reason why you were open.
Thank you.
You ain't hit one since Hector was a pup.
Right.
That's why they're leaving you out there, son.
Like Draymond Green, huh?
Sit down
Yes.
and think about what I just said.
Right.
Yeah, it makes sense, Will, like Draymond Green. How's he wide open all the time? He'll put up 10 threes. He'll probably hit 1, maybe two.
Yeah, and they're rolling the dice. They're saying, well, that's not going to kill us. I'd rather for Draymond to shoot the 3 than for Steph Curry to shoot the 3.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
I mean, if that was a 4-point shot, Austin, this guy can let it fly from right past
anywhere.
Yeah.
Anywhere on the floor. But the one thing that a lot of people just don't understand is that Steph Curry is a great form shooter, and his form is impeccable. So the same form that he uses to shoot normally from the normal 3-point area is the same one that he uses when he's shooting way out there around half court. He shoots off 2 feet. He does not shoot off 1 foot. He's 2 feet straight up, straight down, the follow through all the way through the shot. So he's a great shooter. And you're right. If they had a 4-point shot in the game, he'd be the best 4-point shooter that there is.
Yeah.
And Coach Pettaway, there was some talk a while back about the international rules, like the paint kind of doing it that way.
The wide in the lane, yeah.
Right. But it just seems like, just a critique, it's either slamming, poster dunks, or 3-point shots. The mid-range game is lost. It's gone. I mean, I would like to see it come back. 2 points on a dunk is 2 points. A mid-range jumper is 2 points. A 3-point shot is a 3-point shot, but they've fallen in love. As we were talking about earlier, you know, man, they were hammering the Celtics. They were hammering them about taking all of those 3-point shots, and some of the prognosticators basically said they don't believe they're going to change. That's the way that they've done it, and that's the way they're going to do it. And I wonder if it doesn't go right in this series, will a coach take a lot of heat?
But there's no way, man. You take 23-point shot, you miss 19. Come on, man. That won't happen with me. That's
nah.
You're not gonna take no 23 and miss 19 because you're gonna stop shooting them. Or if you're gonna put your butt over there, you're gonna come over there and be a doggone assistant coach.
You got that right.
Shoot, that's not gonna happen, man.
Well, it's gonna be significant today, and I believe that game is in the afternoon.
Oh yeah, Boston plays this afternoon. Boston, New York. Yeah, it's at 2:30.
Part of me believes that they're gonna come out like gangbusters, but I don't know. I think the pressure's on Boston, but also New York. They can get, like we said earlier, they can get that. They go up 3-0. It's basically, I think, the series.
But you know what? I'm gonna tell you why I want New York to go. I mean, I predicted. I picked Boston, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I had no idea that Boston was going to continue to shoot the threes the way they're shooting. Mm-hmm. I want New York to beat them. I want them to send Boston home so they have the entire summer to think about how they blew this opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
The threes, that is, you live with the three, and now you're gonna be home for the summer. You're gonna be in Cancun on that vacation because all you're gonna do is jack up threes.
Go fishing.
Yep.
Awesome.
And you know what? And rightfully so, if you continue to do the same thing. The last time I checked, there was the old saying that says that if you continue to do the same thing, get the same results, it's called insanity. And a coach knows that at some point you got to stop being insane if you want to win basketball games. You got to stop doing. You have to make adjustments. That's what we do constantly throughout the course of any contest, any basketball game. We're constantly adjusting to what's going on so that we can have a better chance at winning. And so if the Celtics don't make an adjustment this game, they're going to be, just like you said, Carlos, they're going to be at Cancun and having a whole bunch of fun thinking about what they could have, should have, and would have done.
Yep.
And you know, it was interesting. I noticed in the first two games, toward the end of the game, like in the fourth quarter, the ball is in Tatum's hand, you know, Coach. And I can see that, but also I would like to see him and Brown, you know, kind of post up more. And then they collapse the defense, and then you pitch it out. But
when they got Porzingis, now he could play. You know, he's thin and he can shoot the three, but I like him in the mid post. I like him in the mid post, and when he's in there, he creates havoc. And that's what they got to do, man. They got to get people in there. They got to get inside.
Yeah, I'm checking it out. Let's see. First base, 1 out.
No, I think she just stole second.
Okay.
Yep, I think she just stole second.
Let's see. There's a throw, and she's safe. She's safe. And boy, speaking of that, the officials been having a hard time in the NBA playoffs. Wow, man, I don't know. They're human. They're gonna miss some calls, but they've been missing quite a few. There we go. Oh, she's the second, third base now.
So she's at. So now this is when you got to have a good sacrifice. You got 1 out. You need a good sacrifice.
Boy, that was a high pitch.
Man, that wasn't a great pitch at all.
Do you bunt her in?
At this particular spot, I'm thinking about the butt because you're less than 60 feet away from scoring a run that could put you ahead in this game. Put the pressure on the defense, try to make them actually make a throw over the first base or hold the runner. So that could put you in a position where you have two ladies on base with somebody coming up right behind them.
Right. I think I would go for the sacrifice here. I think now. With one out, you got to run on third. I don't know.
They're discussing the strategy at FAMU, how they want to pitch it, how they going to play
how
it.
they going to defend it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Are you coming home? I mean, you got to come home. You know, this is top of the seventh.
Yeah, I'm bunting toward the first base line.
Yep.
If I'm bunting.
Correct. Yep. I will put it down first base line.
Here's a windup. She was going to bunt.
Yep.
She was going to bunt.
Yep. And look at the midfielders, man. They're on top of that. They down there before the ball gets there.
They're closing in.
Yep.
And a nice facility. Looks like synthetic turf. Whoa.
Oh, that was a line drive.
Yeah. Now it's two out there, right?
Yeah. They had him swinging
first
away
time
this
she
time.
Yeah.
I had him swinging away this time.
Yeah. First attempt a bunt, second time swing.
At a 2-1 count, I think I'd have tried another bunt. I'd have tried another bunt before I had her swing away. But she knows her players. I don't.
Yeah. Top of the seventh, 1-1, 2 outs. A ladies on third.
Yep. Bama State better capitalize on this now because they got it at the bottom of the seventh.
Mm-hmm.
They can just let it hang out.
Yeah, ball.
But Carlos, I think one of the things that I heard the commissioner on Charles's interview with the commissioner, I think they talked about the basketball tournament remaining where it is.
So Thursday through Saturday, women by themselves.
Yep.
On Thursday, double hit on Saturdays. Yeah.
Correct.
And
yep.
What was it about softball as well? It may be going to
no
something
division
different after the 2026 season. Okay.
Right. After when this season is over with, there will be no divisions.
Okay, so 2026 season.
Yes. And then I guess the health of the conference is great too. I think the SWAC is probably in a better shape now than they've ever been.
And also, maybe I'll get Dr. Cavill to come on and talk about it. The lawsuit against the SWAC by Urban Edge Network. It was the SWAC won.
Yep.
In that case, so that may have some implications down the line, but conference seems to be in great shape.
Right. So that was $150 million lawsuit about television rights. You gonna tell me that they won't make $150 million?
Well, I always thought that the conference has the right. They have the first rights of broadcast and all that. Then you have secondary. Oh boy, FAMU gets out of that.
Yep. No, but Carlos, what I'm saying, okay, you sued for $150 million.
Mm-hmm.
So you're telling us that you expected to make $150 million from your broadcast?
No, I just think they just overstated that.
That was Grambling and FAMU, right?
If you're gonna sue somebody, you might as well go for it. And so I mean, I think the verdict probably going to be the same if they were suing for $2. Yeah, they just did not have any rights, to the SWAC inventory. They didn't have any rights to it.
Can't supersede the conference. The conference
No.
first, then you have secondary rights, and then each school, like Southern has JAG Vision, but it doesn't come first. After the pecking order goes, then Southern University comes in. And I know Grambling State and FAMU had contracts with Urban Edge Network. But again, I can't go into a broadness of each individual aspects of that contract. But
here's the crazy of that. You're a part of the conference. That would be like the Dallas Cowboys telling NBC you can run all of the Dallas Cowboy football games.
True.
Yeah. Yeah. And but the SWAC won their case, and I think they still have some other parts of litigation to take care of. But I'm glad the SWAC won. That's just the way I am. I like the leadership of Dr. McClellan. He's a down to earth guy. He has been
doing
a
great job. Doing a really great job, definitely.
And I remember talking with him when he was at Texas Southern as AD. He just came right up and started talking with me. We were sitting there for the baseball tournament that was in Baton Rouge. And, somebody that's been in the wars, the fires, being an AD. So they know now, being the commissioner, they know what's going on, as far as. And, I kid the ADs about having a hard time, I give them a hard time, Will, or what, and you as well, about the guarantee games in football, the basketball. I like the regular season champ representing the conference, but that's not going to happen. So I go on. But, I still can voice my opinion on it, but I'm still behind them. They have the tournament. The tournament champion goes representing the conference. I'm for it. I'm for it. So that's how that goes, Wheeler and Coach Pettaway and Austin. You can have disagreements. You can agree or disagree, but you still move on.
Right.
You move on.
Yeah. I mean, what? I was going to hunger strike till things got better. Well, that wouldn't work out too good, would it? No, that wouldn't work out too good. So that's in a true organization. That's what happens. Sometimes you agree to disagree. And I have often said, I'm not a coach, but even if I was a coach, I want a staff around me that are not yes men and yes women. They can come to me all the time. Coach Brown, this hasn't worked. Let's try this.
Yep.
That's kind of people I want around me. Because if you have people that agree with you every time, doesn't that sound familiar? Right. Somebody that's got nothing but yes men around them and women, and to pop up your ego. No, I want to win, and you win together, not from an individual standpoint.
But you got to have people understand, Carlos, it's only one butt in the sling.
Well, that's my butt.
And that's the head coach. That's the head man. His is the only one that's in the sling. So, while I'm going to listen to what you have to say and take it under consideration, you're going to need to respect my final decision, because whatever that decision is, it's going to reflect on me and not on you.
Of course. I'm not a dummy, because I don't want to get the AD to fire me. But yeah. So, two things can be right at the same time. I'm gonna respect Willa Brown because I know what's gonna happen. He has the name the hardliner for a good reason.
Yeah.
I respect Coach Pettaway. I've seen the work he did coming to the FG Clark Activity Center. That was true. I had me a handkerchief because it was going to be some sweating going on when Alabama A&M comes in, and I think the first couple of nights after I saw Obi Trotter, oh my goodness, Whew. Boy, that was a tough guy. But
No,
then
yeah.
you take on the attributes of your coach. So
Yeah.
1-1, bottom of the 7th, FAMU's batting.
Right, and FAMU just had a base running error. Alabama State went for the double play, and the ball got away from the first baseman. The catcher backed her up, Wheeler, and the catcher caught the young lady in the rundown. So that's how they got 2 out.
Don't you hate base running errors? Oh my goodness. It could cost you a game too. You know, you got to pay attention. You know, I'm looking at that third baseman, telling him, come on, and then stop. Too late.
Yeah. After you gave the green light, now you got to put the brakes on.
That is true. Got about 10 minutes left in the show.
Hey, Carlos, now one of the things now I don't know, I wasn't here last week. Did you all discuss the draft or the NFL draft in terms of the SWAC players?
No, I usually wait a couple of weeks.
Okay, I got you.
And then get all of the lists for the free agents that have been drafted. Alabama A&M did get an offensive lineman drafted, and I want to say,
in Baltimore, he's here with the Ravens.
Oh,
okay,
yep.
Really good kid.
He's a nice kid. I got a chance to meet him during the regular season, and then during the season, and then of course he oh,
look out! Oh,
home run! Wow,
a big hit by a big lady.
Damn, walk-off home run! Wow.
And I guess Roy said that was enough of that.
Might be it.
Now, FAMU and Jackson State, that has become a interesting battle back and forth by the fans on social media. So
look at these guys beat them down. Walk off.
Here's a replay again. Pitch. Boop.
Took it downtown, no doubt.
Solid hit. You know what? I run off the field from Alabama State, some of the players. But no, you got to have sportsmanship. But, oh, man.
What a way to end it. Great way to end it for FAMU. Tough loss for Alabama State.
Heartbreaker.
And look, and I bet you Charles going crazy too.
Oh, yeah.
On the call.
Solid swing, solid hit, contact.
Yeah.
Hey, the car. You see the car that's moving out there?
Yeah.
One time I was at a Southern baseball game, right? And this lady pulled up in a Jaguar, the outfield fence, and we were all back there, arguing and talking and having a good time. And she pulls up as a home run was hit. You know where that ball landed?
On the car?
In the windshield.
Wow.
And the lady was like, what I say was a BMW? One of the real expensive cars. She said this gonna cost a windshield $700+ to fix.
Wow. Probably gonna be more than that because Charles, I just spent $1,200 and I got a Tahoe. Yep.
Yeah. Everybody say buy your vehicle if you want one now because of the tariffs. It's gonna go up. Wow. Charles just said the first home run in this park.
Yep, he mentioned that the other day. See, I've been watching the broadcast because quality. My niece plays for Alabama State.
How did you get away?
Well, A&M was recruiting her, Coach Brown. That was a softball coach, and she left. And the people that took over for her did not recruit, did not follow through. So she ended up going to Alabama State. She's a freshman at Alabama State. She starts in right field, and she's also a catcher.
Yeah, Willa, you gotta support them no matter their choice. I don't have any kids, but let's say if I had a daughter or a son, Dad, and it's a good athlete. Let's say academically as well. I want to go to Grambling. I want to go to Jackson State.
Yeah.
What do you think my reaction would be?
Well, you can go, but I'm gonna tell you where my money going.
Yeah.
I was telling them, I said, my money gonna go to Southern, but you can go to Jackson or Grambling, but my money goes to Southern.
Oh, I had a dream that happened one time. With the Jackson State, I woke up in a sweat. I was screaming. I woke up screaming. It was like, what's wrong with you? It was just a dream, baby. It was just a dream. But you know what? I still would support he or she, if either it was Jackson State, Alabama, A&M, because the goal is to get to college and graduate. And then playing sports to help you get through, that's good.
No, and if you're going for free, that's a plus.
Thank you.
If they paying your way, that's a plus right there.
No, sir. Yes, sir.
I wouldn't be a hardliner as such. I know a Southernite said you got two choices, Southern and Southern. And he meant it. He meant it. Any extras, because it's extras you got to give that goes beyond the scholarship and stuff. They need things. He said, look, and he's an entrepreneur now in New Orleans. He said, nope, it goes to Southern and Southern.
Yep.
On that note.
That's how you keep that tradition going.
Yeah. But, and also it brings up quickly, because we got like 4 minutes left. When recruiting, years ago, we had a big debate on the show I was doing. I basically said, I prefaced it by saying, I'm not a parent, but I would really instruct her, he or she, to listen to my advice, my experience about, picking a university. But then some said, well, they're going to spend 4 years somewhere. They need to have complete autonomy of making that choice, right? I went on the side of it's my duty as a parent to advise them
right,
as best as I can. So it leads to this, Coach Pettaway and Wheeler. If you're going on a recruiting process as a coach, which one you feel more comfortable with, when the parents are involved somewhat, or if they're not? Which one?
I'd rather have a parent involved, because
definitely that's who you're recruiting. That's who you're recruiting. You're recruiting.
Right. You need the parents involved, because most parents that are involved with their athletes, you have a better experience with them. You have a better experience with them, Carlos. I love to have the family, and I preach family atmosphere. We are all a family. We're a blended family now. I want you and your son to come play for me and become a part of our family. We're in this together. Carlos, you're gonna send me a young boy. I'm gonna send you a man back in 4 years. Come on and let me. Now let's put all the cards on the table. I coach my kids hard. I say some coaches want you to play hard. I expect you to play hard. There's a big difference. There's a big difference. And then how do we get to that point? Because we're going to work in practice. I'm going to show you the way. I'm going to explain everything that I want. Now it's up to you to understand that and be a part of it. And this has been our success. This is why we've been successful. So that's just a part of it, Carlos. You got to have.
And I'm letting them know. I'm recruiting you because you play hard. That's the only reason why I'm sitting in your living room right now. If you didn't play very hard, I'd be in somebody else's living room. So certain things for me were given always. Effort, you don't have to recruit. You should not have to recruit effort. They should be giving it 24/7. That's why you're there. But like I said, like Coach Pettaway said, you're recruiting the parent.
Yep.
At the end of the day, because you got a kid here that hasn't washed his own clothes, probably hasn't fixed his own meal, got no inkling in terms of what's about to transpire when they walk on that college campus. So I mean, I need for mom and dad to know that I got your son. At the end of the day, I got him. He gonna walk across that stage after 4 years. if he come in and put in the work. But it's not going to be easy by no means.
Right.
Old school.
That's it.
That's a good thing. And then somehow, I think although it's a different student athlete now, there's still some that looking for that.
Oh yeah. There are parents out there that are looking for that, man.
You got that right.
I'm telling you that now. I'm Carlos. I've had parents that come up to me and ask me about returning. They want kids to play for me. I'm sure there are parents that really want that, man. They want that tough love.
Old school is still good school and still something that we should have. Want to thank Brian Fulford and Roy for
and congratulations to them too.
Yeah, producing. Congratulations. FAMU softball now in the final round against Jackson State. It'll take two. Games, 2 wins to beat Jackson State. The weather is kind of spotty. They have said, the SWAC, that Sunday morning is likely to, because of the 5-hour rule after the game, that most likely that game will be played Sunday morning. Let the church say, I'm in rock.
Yeah.
Want to thank you in the chat room. Good conversation, good comments. We appreciate you as well. For Coach Vann Pettaway, the AD Willa Brown, yours truly. Have a great rest of your Saturday and weekend, and we'll see you next Saturday at 11 a.m. for another edition of the Coles Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. We don't have the chant because Charles is not here, so unless one of you want to do it, that's it. We'll see you. Peace and God bless.
For you, Charles.